Well, welcome back, everybody. After a very long break for Tally for sure, but we got to have some fun with some of our. It was really fun watching Ryan play an NPC that I'm slowly kind of really enjoying running. So I've now kind of had to relinquish it over to Ryan, and boy, did he give Fabian proper care and timing. That was pretty awesome.
We were all creepy with
awesome.
our fun characters.
Well, I mean, creepy rats of unusual size taking pot shots at monsters. That was kind of fun too.
Yeah.
The little things in life we like to do. I was always afraid of really enjoying that particular character more than a Traumaton. But, the cool thing about a Traumaton is he could keep being remade into different physicality, like different physical forms. So eventually I just imagine a Traumaton becoming a Dustbuster, and just,
Dust Devil? Yeah.
Dust Devil would definitely be more in alignment with that for sure.
Especially when
it was weird. It was weird
together.
watching Alexa play a character that was super kind of bossy and organized and totally I don't know.
Snobby.
He's kind of a
snob.
Yeah, straight.
She was essentially playing herself in real life.
Hey.
Get it.
All right, kids. Let's separate you. You over there, you down there. Come on now. I love it. Well, welcome back, Tally. We missed you.
I'm so mad that I missed so much.
We missed your chaos. I'm not gonna lie. You bring a lot of chaos to the. This current character that you're playing definitely is bringing a bit of that chaos to the forefront. But
somebody needs to make bad plans that don't come true.
Where we last left off, I'm going to go back a couple sessions to bring us, as close to parody as I can. The aftermath of the destruction of a particular section of the Ember Spire. This led to a series of events after the fact. One, while in the midst of being rescued, some interesting tidbits were discovered. Not only would it seem that the Wild Mother seems to be a particular temple that is quite active here, but we had an interesting conversation and some insight on some of the victims within the Ember Spire, leading us to believe that maybe something else had transpired or something else was going on at the same time that the explosion occurred. We also witnessed Karina taking a moment to find her way back up into House Loomis to see what was going on amidst all of this chaos, as well as the rest of the team trying to figure out, after speaking with Karina about what she discovered at the House Loomis location, that clearly this one individual might be a part of all of this. Realizing that this person known as Regina Green may actually potentially be a changeling who has taken on the form of all these other individuals that have kind of set little bits of chaos off in motion. However, we also learned as the team, two of the team members traveling with Karina, I believe it was a Traumaton and Forn, heading down to witness a ceremony. Without having true places to bury people after tragedies such as this, they actually tend to do pyres as a way to kind of wish the dead over the threshold and to bring a closure to all the catastrophe that had occurred. But this also triggered a bit of maybe regret or remembrance in Forn, realizing and witnessing this decision, this activity that he had done, kind of creating a good deal of harm and outcome to some of those. But Karina convinced that if they were to linger here, they could eventually understand who was harvesting this substance that they had found and what would be the origin of this substance, or who was harvesting this particular substance, as it was one of the ingredients that were discovered within the warehouse structure. But before all that took place, there was a bit of a spa day, some downtime, some kind of relaxation that took place, which allowed the team to kind of get to know each other a little bit better. And it even afforded an opportunity for Foreign and Karina to have a very interesting conversation that dabbled a bit in Karina's backstory, even kind of leaving Karina to question, who was that little girl that she supposedly kind of took over their history, took over who they were, and where did they actually go, and who were they really connected with? Because Foreign had a very interesting conversation with the owner of the tavern. But all of this culminated in Error Trio discovering some information about something called the First of Azamir, and Melody meeting up with her sister for the first time in a long time in a more casual atmosphere, and beginning to have doubts about what it is that her sister has gotten involved with. Ariana seemed very much committed to House Treshy and committed to whatever they're doing in regards to saving Fey creatures and finding safe haven for Fey creatures as well. But it was the arrival of Jamansa Ord during the priest's eulogy of the activity that transpired before down on the tomb's platform. Here we experienced for the first time an angry crowd, a mob kind of descending down, looking for blame, looking for reasons why loved ones and others had passed away in an area of the Ember Spire that was already reportedly suffering problems and challenges. It was Jaman Sword's arrival that kind of set the vigil and calmed the nerves of the individuals. Jaman had announced their abandonment of Marquet in an effort to aid Jrusar both in its recovery and possibly transition its leadership into a much more non-criminal enterprise, which is what Jrusar has been kind of known for some time. And where we last left off, obviously in preparation for the Greymaker's auction, Melody had wrapped up her conversation with her sister. Error Trio had wrapped up his interaction with this kind of small altar-like discovery that he had made. And Karina, Foreign, and Atraumaton were watching the last of the crowd disperse to the gondolas, watching the priest finish his eulogy, and patiently waiting in the slowly growing darkness of a late night vigil to discover who this person was that would be harvesting this substance. Karina, Foreign, and Atraumaton, you guys wait in the shadows of the tomb's wall. And after the vigil, after everyone is gone, now you can hear the jungle sounds of the late night below you. See the last of the gondola leave for the evening. No longer any gondolas will be arriving until morning, leaving the three of you to patiently wait in the shadows of this space. The three funeral pyres have now burnt down to ash and remnants of bone and wood. Three of you give me perception checks as you kind of find yourself just staring off and around into darkness.
Starting off the night with a nice nat 20 for a 26.
Nice.
Hey. Hey, Charles.
I mean, it is one of the things that I tried to push this character for is perception. So that is good.
But a nat
20 on top of it all.
Yeah.
What'd you get, Karina?
16.
16? Okay. I was like, Tally's like, oh wait, yeah, that's right. We're playing D&D.
Okay. I got a 12.
The 12. Tom, always visual as always. Did you know that token wouldn't be there anymore? Born.
Mhm.
There's a silhouette of a figure about 100 feet to your right in the shadows of one of the walled structures near a platform. You can't quite see their face, but there is a silence about them, their cautious movement. See what looks to be an outline of a bow and a blade on their back, and this silent figure kind of stalking as quietly and as carefully as they can towards the edge of one of the nearby pyres.
I'm going to stalk behind them. I'll put my hand out to the other two without saying anything. And I'll start to try and skirt around.
Knowing the tendency for a traumaton to not be silent, I would require 3 stealth checks as you kind of silence them, and then you silently begin to walk towards where you see the figure.
Sure. So it hands out. Start that one with a, what's my plus? Okay, I'm glad I got a +5. It's a 10 for the first roll. Ward. 6 for the second.
What'd you get, Karina, for stealth?
Slowly remembering how to do this. 7.
7. And a traumaton for your stealth check, if you would, please.
All right. Actually, that's not that bad. I don't think I have anything still. Oh, 17.
What?
Trauma's actually got a +2.
Yeah, I know,
The lumbering
right?
machine is the one that sneaks up.
I have a +5 to stealth, and I got a 10.
Yeah. So, Foreign, as you kind of silence Karina and Traumaton, and you start walking in the direction of the figure, Karina kind of like, you hear her boot crack on something, like she's shifting her weight. You kind of turn to, and as you turn, you misstep and you stumble on a piece of loose stone that kind of grinds under your foot. But silently, Traumaton is just like stoically standing there, doesn't make a noise. You know, just standing there. The Traumaton's like looking in the direction that you kind of begin to walk towards. As you glance back in the direction where that silhouetted figure was, you don't see anybody there.
I'm
feeling that you might have been hurt.
I'm gonna mental message because Trauma still got one of my tokens. I think he's got my tooth, actually. One of my teeth. It was like, head around the other side of the fire. Somebody's stalking around there. They got a blade and a bow. I've lost sight of them now.
Trauma just kind of cocks their head and just kind of like, all right, and just slinks off around the other side.
With that same stealth roll, we'll keep it. You kind of follow Thorn's directions in the area that he pointed to. Karina, are you doing anything at this point?
Other than tripping over my shoes. What's what did the person look like?
It was just a silhouette, a shadow. They had a bow and a blade.
Elvish, gnomish.
I didn't see anything that far.
Yeah.
I mean, they were still cloaked, wreathed by the shadow. I was hoping perhaps I could get around and get closer to it, but unfortunately, lost a foot in there.
Well,
I sent Trauma around the other side. I think we need to, if we can continue around here, perhaps we can pinch them in.
Sounds like a plan.
Karina, as you and Foreign get a focus on the area, you start to walk in that direction. As you two lose track of a Traumaton veering around, a Traumaton, give me a perception check again as you focus on the area and the direction that you're taking, trying to find this figure.
Give me a sec. That is a 9.
Oh,
No sign, no sight of anything. Karina, you and Foreign hear a like a subtle kind of sound of something being released. Foreign, you're staring at an arrow sticking out of your chest.
Oh,
As you take 28 points of piercing damage.
yep.
28.
You son of a, and I kind of like slip over backwards.
Yes, oh, you just fall over unconscious.
Yep.
Oh my god. Taking a piece of my dress, that's why I'm like, truce, wait. Wait,
Message for you, sir.
We're rich dignitaries, please. I'm sure we can sort this out.
You hear another sound. You're
Dodge.
staring at an arrow in your stomach as you take 24 points of piercing damage.
Well, I'm dead.
Traumaton, as you had flanked over.
No, I have one.
You have 1 hit point left?
Yes, because I had 10 temp.
Okay. A Traumaton, you look over, you hear the sound of Foreign collapsing to the ground. You also see like Karina go, wait, like trying to get someone's attention. And then an arrow out of the darkness strikes her in the stomach. And she staggers under the blow. Do you want to appear to be dead, however, considering you're looking at the unconscious body of Foreign?
So I actually, thanks to my evil overlord, I have false life that I can do at will, which would add D4 plus 4 to my hit points.
Nice.
So
Give me a
I'll start with
D4
that.
and add that 4 and
nice.
So I get a plus 6, so I'm now at a 7, which is a little less dead.
could you give me a charisma save, please?
Damn.
Well, you're charisma though, so you should be okay.
I have 22.
There we
22.
go.
22%.
See?
For a brief moment, your right arm is wreathed in black and purple fire. You feel an intense energy building inside of you. The energy courses around the arrow stuck in your stomach and disintegrates. You feel yourself rebolstered, reaffirmed. You look through a haze of black energy in your mind, and you can see a figure bent and kneeling down, reloading an arrow to a bow, as if getting ready to take another shot at you.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
You can smell their soul.
What does it smell like?
It smells like you're very hungry.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna do Hellish Rebuke.
It cracks off. I believe that's a con save, correct? Or dex save on Hellish Rebuke?
Oh, I don't know why I did that. It is Dex 14.
Okay. That is a natural 1 plus 5 is a 6. You watch as the energy courses off of you, cracks in. Go ahead and roll for damage if you would, please.
That's a 7.
7 points. A Traumaton, there's an explosion of energy and light coming from the right side. You watch as this wreath of flame just comes arcing off of Karina. Foreign, go ahead and give me a death save if you would, please. And you see this figure get cracked by this flame effect. He grunts under the strike, looks up, and you could kind of make out his shadow as he quickly begins to maneuver and starts scaling the rock wall behind him. You have maybe a moment to react before you lose track of him.
Can I do another hellish rebuke?
Yes. That's another.
Or I can
fucking
do
failure.
Eldritch Blast.
No, that's another failure. Do it again. I love it. Just this flavor of your anger and your pain arcing up towards the figures they're trying to escape.
It was a nat 20 on that death save.
Nice.
Ooh.
I believe that's 2 successes, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's going to be a 10.
10 points. But Traumaton, anything you want to try to pull off before he continues to scale up the wall?
How far away from am I from him at this point?
He's about 80 feet from you.
There's not a lot I can do, unfortunately. Let me make sure I don't have anything I can do from range. I'm very focused on melee. Let's see if I can do that.
He's scaling, moving rather quickly. You can see a bit of smoke trails coming off of him. Karina is now kind of recovering at the same time, and he's scaling. He's getting away.
Is the thing he's scaling? I know. Is it just like a normal like rope ladder, or is it an actual?
It's the spire wall itself. It's like the spire. He's scaling up the spire, about to kind of like disappear into the darkness above it.
All right. I can't really do anything to directly affect him. Can I raise an alarm? Just start kind of like have
Like a klaxon starts going
Yeah.
off. Like your little klaxon alert starts kicking off, which causes you to watch him scale even faster. And before long, the two of you lose track of him up into the darkness of the wall.
Karina cusses very loudly.
Foreign is still unconscious next to you.
And I don't have any healing magic. I'm sorry.
I do, but I have no spell slots anyway, so.
Give me another death save, if you would, please,
Yep.
Foreign.
Nope, that's a 6.
So that's
You
2
can do-
successes, 1 failure. Karina,
do
give
it
me a
with
medicine check as you try to figure out if you could stabilize him, or maybe even get him to stop bleeding out. The arrow's deep in his chest at this point.
I got 18.
We'll say that's enough to stop you from needing death saves, Foreign, but you
Okay.
do not regain consciousness yet. Eventually, at Traumaton, you come over to where Karina is kind of like leaning over Foreign's unconscious body. She's managed to stop the bleeding, but Foreign is still unconscious.
A regular state of being for me, you know.
Here's you too, huh?
Foreign, can you look after him? I think I'm gonna chase after the bastard.
Or
Troll just kinda
Traumaton.
Trauma.
Oh,
Troll just is
I'm sorry. Foreign, you
Foreign,
got
you look
this.
after yourself. I'm going to go chase after you.
Joe
Right,
just
I
kind of
got
looks at the Korean, just kind of shrugs, like, yeah, absolutely, go ahead. Just kind of hunkers down besides Form, just waiting for him to regain consciousness.
You just see her
Okay.
flick the arrow. I could see Trauma flicking the arrow, like
Yeah. Boing. Boing. This
if I pull it,
Must-
does it hurt?
This must suck to have an organic body. I wonder what this feels like. Melody, as you leave the what was the name of that tavern I had you in? That was the I don't know why
Something
my
about stars. The Stargazer, maybe?
yes, I think it's the Stargazer Tavern.
Yep.
Can I?
Yes.
There's one question Karina asked Melody to ask her sister about, and then I forgot. But I think Karina had asked Melody to ask Arya whether she had heard anything about humans disappearing in the area. Can I have asked Arya that?
Sure. Give me a persuasion check on that.
Okay. I got advantage because it's my sister.
No.
All right.
Good
I mean,
try.
it's a clever call out, but no.
Oh, it's a 2, which gives
Two?
me an 8.
An 8. She avoided the answer and seemed cryptically not interested in answering your question. Almost like she was offended that you asked about the humans.
Oh. Okay.
Or other missing non-Fae people, for the most part. She seemed to be obsessed with the idea of saving the Fae more than that particular question would have been asked.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing in front of the Stargazer. Any place you'd like to go or do, or?
And it's like late evening at this point, right?
It is pretty late evening, yeah.
I think originally I was supposed to meet up with my friends here, but it's getting pretty late. So
I will say that you do see Eritrea walking up the path towards the Stargazer, but you don't see any sign of Foreign, Karina, or Traumaton.
okay. Hey, you heard anything? I've been sitting here a little while.
I've kind of been on my own journey.
Okay.
I don't know where anyone else is.
Good journey?
In
Bad
a way,
journey?
yes. In a
Okay.
way. Sobering to say the least.
That's not the kind of journey I'm interested in, I guess.
I can't remember, do we have kind of like a haven of where we wanted to stay? Had we established that?
No.
Not particularly.
That's what I was trying to think is where would Melody
Yeah.
go? Because we don't have a place.
I believe I could find. I believe we could stay at the temple if need be. The Dawnfather temple, but I
Where
believe we
did-
should find our compatriots.
Where have you been living, Eritrea?
I've been staying at the inn prior with Ember Brew. He's kind of helped me in for the most recent months, but I've kind of hopped around over the last couple of years.
Well, I think Foreign was going to meet Karina at the inn. Should we go back there?
Yes, I think that might be best.
Okay.
So the two of you are heading back to the Spire by Fire to
Mhm.
see if maybe they've found their way back to that point.
Yeah.
Leaving the Airy Spire and grabbing one of the nighttime gondolas to take you down towards the Core Spire, paying the 2 silver to traverse the gondola, you find yourself back into the busy night of the Core Spire. And the Core Spire is more active than the Airy Spire. Here, the nighttime people traversing the different available, more adult things available to those late at night, whether it's gambling, the active brothels, and other places that bring out a kind of different vibe of the nightlife. You still continue to notice an increase in the Wardens' activity, where the different, what was once maybe 2 or 3 Wardens patrolling in a very kind of casual way, now it's at least 6 per patrol, kind of being more aggressive, being like the 2 of you walking towards the Spire by Fire. Notice that a group of 6 Wardens have pulled aside 4 individuals, and they're searching their bags and they're searching their persons, and kind of you can hear, "What's your business here?" You could hear them being questioned and kind of being as if they were suspicious for some reason. The 2 of you arrive to the late night sounds of the Bardic tavern of the Spire by Fire. You open up the door. There's only maybe 5 or 6 people in here. It's late. But you can also see some people in the corners, kind of like drinking, eating, a little bit of gambling going on. You can see Ember Brew is behind the bar. He looks up. "Hey, good to see ya. Been a bit. Melody, Eritrea, you still work here, yeah? I can at least count on that a bit?
Yes, you can, and when you need me, if my time is not otherwise occupied.
Oh, that's fine. I don't think I need your services till tomorrow, so not to worry, not to worry. You two look like you've seen a day. You weren't involved in any of that shenanigan across there in the Ember Spire, were you?
I just kind of ignore that he even said that and said, "How's business been tonight?"
Oh, down, bit slow. A lot of people worried about the Wardens have been kind of nosing about, investigating. They were here, I don't want to say, earlier this afternoon, making some inquiries. I didn't really know how to respond to them. They were asking about suspicious folk, anybody with a mind for murder or mayhem, and I was like, well, it's Jrusar. I mean, you got to narrow it down a bit more than that, there, love. And they didn't appreciate. He's got a kind of slight bruise under his left eye. They weren't in a mood for jokes, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I haven't come to think of it. My orcish friend, haven't heard from him since the explosion. I hope he's okay. But you two look tired, hungry. Can I get you a quick bite to eat? Something to drink?
That would be wonderful if you don't also mind partaking us in a little conversation. This has been a stressful day, and we wouldn't mind a little chatter and trying to find out where some of our friends may be.
Oh, you have friends that are missing? Oh, yeah, that creepy bugger with the blue, yeah, and the ATM machine, yeah. And then, of course, there was Karina, the one that threw a lot of money around, even though I don't even actually remember her paying for anything, but that's fine. I haven't seen them all day. Were you expecting them to be here?
We were hoping you may have known where they were. We were supposed to reconvene with them, but it's getting late and we're getting a little concerned.
Did they stop by here earlier?
I think so. I think I remember seeing Fawn and Karina talking over there about something. I didn't really pay much attention. And then I'll have to be honest with you, though, they seemed a little bit, heated. Like, they seemed to be arguing a bit. I overheard something about the owner of the Stargazer Tavern, and yeah, it was strange. I didn't really follow the conversation. I was, busy pouring drinks and such.
I'm gonna lean over the counter and just rub my finger under his cheek over the bruise and put a couple of points of healing into him.
Oh wow, that's pretty fucking weird. Thank you. A little bit of a heads up next time, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You didn't have to waste your...
prettier with the bruise gone.
Oh, you know what, Melody? Having you around is such a joy. Yes. You remind me of my sisters. They kind of... Anyways, Eritrea, you seem unusually serious tonight. Are you sure you're okay?
I don't feel as jovial after the events that just occurred.
Oh. Begs the question, what are you involved then?
What's for dinner tonight?
I see. I've got potatoes and roast beef skewered over there, roasted in a pan. I could fill you up a platter of that if you'd like.
Melody?
Sounds good to me. And a couple beers?
Of course, always a late night drink for a late night lady, of course. He walks over, fills up a big platter of roast beef and roasted, potatoes. Brings over 2 heavy flagons of beer, sets it in front of the both of you, and no worries. If you don't mind, I'm gonna see if any of the other guests need anything. Thanks for the cheek. That was quite sweet of you. Embrew goes to start walking back towards the other side of the tavern, stops, just for some reason just stares at Eritrea for a bit and stares at you and just kind of shakes his head and just kind of continues, his business and walks over to deal with the others that are sitting at different tables.
Can we make an insight check on what
Sure.
you're thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nat 20. That's a 24?
Yeah. You don't think he got that bruise from the Wardens. That came from something else.
Oh.
He's shocked that you're there. Like, he was not expecting you guys to come back.
Oh, no. I'm going to turn and look at Eritrea and be like, I don't think he was expecting us to come here. That bruise is from someone else. I don't know if we should stay here.
Yes, I wouldn't want to raise any more suspicion. I think we should hastily eat and head out. Or maybe just drink the beers and say we have to go.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you guys kind of, after taking a few bites, you then, finish the flagons, and without even really drawing Ember Brew's attention, you just kind of quietly leave the tavern out into the night street. Karina, how are you pursuing this target? What are you doing? You're mute.
I look for a place in the shadows where I can transform into a Kawaka. And then I try as discreetly as I possibly can to fly, maybe even on the other side of the spire, all the way to the top, so I can kind of look from the top downwards at where he might be coming in from.
You quickly scale the distance. Give me a perception check and a stealth check, if you would, please.
Um, 8 for stealth and 15 for perception.
As you fly, you can see him quite clearly scaling, but he sees you as well. You watch as he holds on to a hook of the wall, draws his bow, and quickly, so fast, he's got to be an expert, but you see enough of him to know who he is.
Who is he?
You recognize Trafar Airswift, the individual that had the encounter with Thorn in the Spire by Fire a couple days ago. And you could see the slightly glowing tattoos. You could see his face, his strange kind of bluish hair, and he's dressed in his heavy leathers, his dark black leathers. You could see where the blister of the Hellish Rebuke kind of blasted into both his exposed skin and his armor, just as the arrow starts coursing towards you. Does a 16 hit? I don't remember if that would hit or not. I mean, you could lie to me. That would be totally understandable.
Can I please? My current armor class is a 12.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
Uh,
That's going to be 8 points of piercing damage from the arrow.
well, now I am dead.
That it reverts you back to your changeling form. Your unconscious changeling form is beginning to fall the 40 or 50 feet that you had traversed to chase after him. A Traumaton, give me a perception check as you're watching over Thorn and keeping a vigil around him.
Now I'm really, because I don't want you guys to see me this way.
That's a
So maybe
three.
it's best if you just let me die.
There is a significant splat sound, like about 20 feet to your left. And you can see an erupted torso and twisted legs of Karina's dead body.
Oof.
Well, it's been nice, you guys.
Oh no!
It's
Trauma-
just you, Trauma, and a severely wounded and unconscious Thorn, and what looks to be the grisly remains of Karina's body. But it's hard to tell that it's her because it's a form you're not familiar with. She just looks different, but you know it's her. You sense it's her. And you can see an arrow kind of like fractured on the ground, like near her chest area from where her kind of remains of her body are.
Trauma actually liked Karina, like the other clearly evil person. So I'm gonna just
The other evil person.
yeah. Trauma is
Callie's like in the
correct.
green room going, yeah.
But Trauma is just like, oh no, I like this one as opposed to all these other like do-gooders. And so he is just like going to go ahead and enter a rage and just see if he can spot that weird little guy that was running away.
You kind of find yourself just going into a rage. You look up in the direction that she fell, and you look up just in time to see about at the very edge of your visuals this individual kind of looking down, a kind of slight smile on their face, and then they pull over the crest and into the darkness up above as they continue to scale, and you're unable to pursue. He's gone.
Oh god, I don't have a single thing I can do to him. Too focused on that. I can tag him with. Okay, there's literally nothing I can do as an action or anything. I'm sorry.
I mean, certainly recover her body if you'd like.
I'm going to do that. I will go over and just kind of scoop her up. And just try to.
And it's a mess. I mean, when you go to scoop her up, it sounds like you're carrying a very thin, light bag filled with like broken glass and broken bone. I mean, her body's just shattered. And once again, her form looks very different, but her eyes are always the same. So you know it's Karina by looking at her eyes. You scoop up Thorn as well, who's stable, who Karina had managed to stabilize and keep from bleeding out. But you are now in possession of your two friends, one unconscious, one clearly no longer with you. What would you like to do? Because the gondolas aren't due till sunup. Because you're so deep down in the tombs. You're at the lowest point of the core spire at this point.
Can I start scaling the wall with both of them?
You can certainly try. Give me athletics as you start to look at the sheerness of the wall. You secure them onto your metal form, and you start figuring a way to scale up. You've got to get these people somewhere. Staying down here all night feels dangerous.
All right, that is a 14. Let me check one thing though.
Reach into that skills bag, baby. Reach into that skills bag.
I was curious because I know it's not initiative, but I did mention that I was going to try to rage, which would give me a +2 on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it. I'll give you a 16.
Did I do anything there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put the starting DC at a 15. So you're struggling to find purchase, but your physical strength and the way you manifest your strength, the sound of your heavy machinery and your gear work of your Warforged form is like digging hard, almost like purposely making grooves into the wall as you're now slowly climbing up the spire wall of the core spire. Already looking behind you, you're a good 120 feet up, steadily just kind of climbing into the darkness, going further and further up. Melody, you and Eritrea are now in the dark city streets of the core spire. Where would you like to go?
I think we have to stay at a temple tonight.
Let's head over to the Dawnfather.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that is over in the... Is that the Lantern Spire? Is where that was?
I think it's on the
Yes.
Ares Spire.
It is in the Lantern Spire. So you guys being in the Core Spire, you'd have to make your way over to another series of gondolas that would gradually take you over to the Lantern Spire from the Core Spire. As you traverse the gondola away from the Core Spire, I need the two of you to give me perception checks, if you would, please.
Yeah.
What?
His eyes are flashing red rage, right?
Yeah.
That's what you can see.
It's got like that
Wow.
nylon flavor going on.
Yeah.
I got a nat 1. So
Ooh.
that
All right.
will bring me up to
Yeah, Air Trio, you are lost to the...
or 3.
uh,
or 4.
yeah, that you are lost to the interlude you had within the Temple Gardens.
I got a 13.
13. He is not being stealthy, and he's not being careful either. He's being very purposeful.
He is
Out-
raging.
Yeah, out of the corner of your eye, Melody, as the gondola is descending from the upper part of the Core Spire down into the Dawnfather Temple, of the Lantern Spire, you see the weirdest thing. There is 2 limp bodies over the shoulders of a metal figure that is very slowly and deliberately like climbing up the sheer rock kind of wall of the Core Spire. And the only reason you noticed it is because you swear on the breeze of the gondola that you could hear cursing and like angry, like raging, words about why did she have to go and get herself killed, and Foreign's being an idiot, and he's just digging his huge like hydraulic flails into the rock wall, trying to get as high as he can up onto the Core Spire.
Oh my god! That's drama!
Air Trail, you notice that Melody is pointing on the side of the Core Spire wall as the gondola is arcing down about 200 feet to your right in the darkness of the Core Spire wall. You can see a Traumaton just very focused and climbing up the sheerness of the Core Spire wall.
We gotta take a gondola back up.
Saturday's race. What is he doing?
You're like, eventually you lose track of him as the gondola, like within a few minutes, settles onto the platform of the Lantern Spire. The guy who controls it kind of, Lantern Spire, waits for the two of you to get off, and
We need to go back down.
of course. A couple other people get on and engages the gondola. It starts arcing its way back up towards the Core Spire. The two of you intently, like on the edge of the gondola, kind of looking into the darkness of the Core Spire wall.
We're just like saying little prayers to our deities, like don't
you feel the gondola eventually stop. The two of you go running into the area that you believe that a Traumaton would eventually reach, and sure enough, you're back in the Core Spire. You're back over near the edge of the Core Spire, where there's kind of like a ruined remains of an old building that kind of like exposes it to the edge of the depths of the jungle down below. You watch as a huge metal flail comes over the edge, and a very kind of weary and creaky noised Traumaton pulls himself up over the edge, and you watch as 2 bodies kind of are laid down as he pulls himself over. The grisly remains of Karina's body, who appears to be dead, and the unconscious form of Thorn kind of being laid down as well.
Oh, just like rush over.
I rush over. I instantly am casting Cure Wounds on both of them.
Okay.
So, 2 equals 3.
Karina, it's that feeling of being disconnected. It's strange. All around you, darkness, a sense of overwhelming grief, anger, and as you focus on the absence of pain, you look down at yourself. You look around, and all around you, a red and black haze begins to boil. You see an outline of a person, or you're not sure. They've stopped about 10 feet from you, and you should be able to see what they look like, and they simply are just shadow and emptiness as they stare at you. Your mouth dry, your throat dry, you kind of stand there as if you should be in pain, but you're standing there in the remains of your clothing covered in your blood. You can see the blood all over the clothing, but are you breathing? Are you drawing in air? It's a strange feeling.
Does the figure feel like it might be the Raven Queen?
That moment, that thought pops into your mind. You watch as the red and black turn into clouds of feathers, kind of falling all around you. A silver thread suddenly appears in front of you, coursing off you, intertwining in the empty space around you.
My queen.
What is your purpose here?
My purpose in meeting you again is to ask for the most gracious gift that anyone can ask, and hope that you will take pity on a soul like my own, a soul that you might be able to understand. I have a purpose, and when it is done, I will not need my life anymore, and I will serve you at whatever capacity you will need me. But I have been reaching to you for as long as I could, in the hope that you might help me.
Your path is not yours. Your path is not mine. Your path is beset with choice and mistake, and choice and mistake. Why should I not collect what is owed me now?
You are the collector of souls, and you value the souls that you keep forever, and you treasure them. My life is a stolen life. It is not a life worth keeping. If you allow me to return this life to its proper owner, then whatever is left of me, you can have.
Give me a persuasion check on that one, if you would, please.
22.
I leave your soul to the fates. I leave your request to the fates. We'll see if there are those that want you back. And then you just feel yourself just pulled down into an emptiness of black energy and space and shadow. You guys watch as Arrow Trio begins to just like pour that healing energy into Foreign's form. How many hit points does Foreign get?
8.
8. You watch as Foreign's eyes flutter open as he begins to regain consciousness. As you try to pour healing energy into Karina, no response.
Oh, son of a bitch, what the hell happened? Oh. Got a damn arrow in my chest.
I'll pour another 5 points of healing into Born and pull the arrow out.
Oh, God.
You're gonna be okay.
Oh.
Melly just pats you like a dog that got hit by a car.
Oh. Heads up next time. Shit.
What happened? Karina's dead.
What?
Look at her.
Who? That's Karina? Shit. Who, she's a damn changeling.
Trauma, did you see anything?
Try to describe what little I can see of the guy running up the spire.
Yeah, as the Trumpeton's describing who he saw, before and you instantly recognize the description. It was definitely Jafar Airswift, the one that you had the encounter with out in front of the Fire by Spire.
That gray-skinned bastard. Oh, the air guy from the Spire by Fire. That's what it sounds like. What the hell was he doing there? Why are we talking about this? We got to get Karina somewhere.
There's nothing I can do about this, but maybe the Temple of the Dawnfather. It's way past me. Eritrea.
You're
Oh, you're muted.
We have to take her to the temple right away.
Oh. So, like, I'll scoop her up and stagger with her.
Scoop her up, put her over your shoulder, and you guys make your way over. Well, I mean, you're going to be taking a dead body onto the gondola. I'll leave it up to you to decide if you think that's wise or not.
I'm gonna.
I feel I'm intimidating enough that no one's really going to question me.
I don't think it's about intimidation as much as just, somebody blew up the Ember Spire and now these 4 people are carrying a dead body through the streets. It might just raise questions.
Are there any temples that we would know of on this spire?
Not that you're aware of. You do know that the Wild Mother, there's a conclave of Wild Mother followers that were aiding and healing those that had suffered over on the Airy Spire. So there might be a place there. In fact, you recall having a conversation with what was his name? Where did I put you? Kaleem Hoofstep of the Wild Mother when you were on the gondola traversing back and forth. So there could be a Wild Mother location on the Airy Spire, but for sure on the Lantern Spire is the Dawnfather Temple because you've used it before. Plus, you guys used it as a group as a means of just kind of laying low that, one of those first nights that you were in Jrusar recently.
Let's go to the Lantern Spire. I can put a scarf over her face so it's harder to tell what's going on, and we can just say she's drunk.
Drunk and bleeding out.
She's covered, right? She's covered. She's got clothes on.
Yeah.
She'll be carried.
Well, I mean, she's a pretty gory mess. I mean,
Well, how bad is this situation? Like, she's in one piece, right?
well, she's got the
He
remains
said her
of an
chest
arrow,
was- yeah.
but she had fallen 50 feet, which is the fall is what really did her in. So, like, just about every bone in her body's been broken or damaged to a certain point. Some of the compound fractures have kind of torn through the skin. So her, and her clothing is covered in her, like, physical remains of when she hit the ground.
We could go straight to the Wardens and say our friend's been attacked and we need help and we need a healer, but I don't know what they can do. This seems like a temple issue. The only people I know who can actually help her.
Can I look around and see if there's any Fae adjacent species around?
Fae adjacent species.
Right. I mean, whether they're like from the Fae or like
I mean, give me a perception check as you kind of glance around
Like,
the area. Like,
we
to
know
see
that
who's
there's
in
a
the-
group that is out there to try and bring the Fae back. That maybe they, we can get some. If I roll, that's another nat 20. That's a 26 on perception. I can't save my life, but I can I can see things.
Yeah. Do you know thieves can't?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's something I'm getting to eventually.
You definitely recognize on a nearby building some strange writing and script that you would know to be thieves can't. You're just not sure what it says. Other than that, all the people in the darkness traversing the alleyways and the streets of this part of the core spire, I mean, they're purposely not making eye contact. They could see the four of you kind of over by the ruined structure at the edge of the core spire's edge. And they seem to be not intentionally avoiding you, but they're just not wanting to get involved. And so far, no wardens have come by yet. You haven't seen a warden patrol yet.
Look, up on the wall there's a mark of the thieves can't. I can't read it, but I recognize what it is. We could take a chance and try to step in there and see if they can't help us get somewhere quicker.
Her chances
not-
are better just taking the gondola. It's just the fact that she's injured doesn't mean we did anything wrong. It just means we have someone injured and we need to get to a temple.
All right. I defer to your wisdom.
You can, I mean,
My decisions have been bad of late. Like he's like got to put his hand on his chest where the arrow was. My decisions have been bad of late. Perhaps this is the best course of action. Right. Well, is there some way we could perhaps arrange ourselves around her such that she may be less noticeable?
I mean, you guys
Or-
give me a group deception check and see if you can kind of dress it up and try to kind of cover up what you're, attempting to do.
Like, I mean, I'll put her like on my back.
We could
like
also-
I'm carrying a drunk friend kind of thing.
we could wrap her on Trauma's back like she's just a package. I mean, she's dead. I mean,
I would love to see what Tally looks like in the green room right now.
I can see her.
Just wrap her on the back,
She's got that look on her face like, oh shit, please don't lose my
Hey,
body. I
it
like
wasn't
my
my
body.
idea, okay? But yeah, I can sacrifice my jacket for that for now.
I rolled a 6.
Okay.
I got what's my deception? I got a 12. Not good.
I got a dirty 20.
We're just waiting for Ryan to get back and he can roll.
Yep.
He might be gone for a couple minutes if we just want to.
Okay. While Traumaton and Melody struggle, it's for some reason foreign, it comes naturally to you. You just like, fuck it. You wrap her up in a blanket and you tether her onto a Traumaton's back, and you kind of like take some nearby soot that's on the ground, and you kind of, you write coal on the blanket just to kind of give it a very cursory kind of like, it's just my Warforged companion carrying a bag of coal back from a busy trading day. Although you're a bit of a mess yourself, but
I've got a disguised self that I could throw on. So I'm gonna disguise myself to be like a coal worker. I get or like someone that's been in the mines or something.
Yeah. And you guys make your way back to the Corspire gondola. There you get on the gondola. There's a few people on there. No one really paying much attention except for the gondola driver. He's realizing that both Eritrea and Melody are once again going back towards the Lantern Spire. Just kind of gives you a look of,
Such a crazy night when you're like, you can't figure out where to meet up with your friends, and then
I
we want
agree.
to go to a bar on the Core Spire. They want to go on the Lantern Spire.
I understand. I truly do. Makes sense. And he just kind of scrunches his eyebrows as he kind of like stares at a Traumaton and stares at the disguise of form. And it takes a few minutes. And eventually, you feel the gondola bump onto the Lantern Spire platform. The four of you getting off and quickly moving in the direction of the Dawnfather Temple. Before long, you stand in front of the garden area of the temple, the different little altars in the garden area. You're also standing in front of the stone steps that lead you up towards the front of the temple as well.
I'm going to race up and knock hard on the door. Be like, I need help for real this time. Please open the door.
Give me a persuasion check because you're banging on the door at a very late night of hour.
Okay.
Again.
God, it's a 5 plus 6 is 11.
I put the DC as a 10 because you have been here before, right? So the shutter of the door opens and you see this female priestess kind of, what do you want? It's late.
I need help. My friend has been attacked and she's really badly injured.
Oh, very well. You hear the slide of a bolt and as the door is pulled inward. As the door opens up, you can see the very dimly lit pews of the ceremonial chamber. You can see the little chapel ends on the interior, little hallways that go off in different directions. There's two Dawnfather acolytes kind of cloistered and in the midst of their late night prayers, and the priestess gathers up her robes around her, a very kind of very human face with a kind of tiredness to it, little bits of brown hair coming out from underneath the cowl of her cloak and hood that she's wearing. And who's in trouble? And she hurries all of you into the inner chamber of the entryway into the chapel area. She seems to be confused. You all look fine. Who are...
I dropped my disguised self so that my the blood stain and marks on my clothes are visible now. And
I'll help untie Karina from
Oh, you brought me a corpse? Why would you bring me a corpse? What am I to do with a corpse?
She wasn't a corpse that long ago.
Is there anything you can do? She was attacked and we just rushed her hair as quick as we could.
I'll have to. Yes, follow me, but make it quickly. Do you have coin?
She does.
Yeah.
Very well. We'll give it a try. It's not always.
Yes.
It depends on the person and the situation. But follow me. I'll take you into the chapel room. We'll set up there and see if we can't accomplish anything. Bring her. You guys watch as Foreign picks her up again, and you follow her to the back of the temple. She guides you through a real thin corridor into a round kind of temple room. that's relatively small with a kind of stone altar in it. She immediately pulls her cloak down and goes over to a nearby table. Put her on the altar, please. Please.
I've been very carefully putting her on the altar.
Let me go see if the acolytes can assist. And she kind of quickly leaves. She's gone for maybe about 3 minutes, and then herself and 2 others come back and begin the ritual, begin the ceremony of putting out the urn and the incense. And you watch as the one priestess goes over to a silver ceramic container, and she pulls out a very small but quite flawless looking diamond, takes that over and puts it into some of the writings and insignias that she's placed around the altar. You watch as the other 2 acolytes then bring other offerings to put near the altar as well. Resurrection is not easy. It's expensive. Now, we're bound by duty to do this regardless. Normally, we would ask for a stipend of 1,000 gold to accomplish this task.
I reach into my pocket and pull out one of the alchemical diamond that we had. This is the best I've got right now.
This will do. The priestess takes it over to another empty urn near Karina's corpse. Is there anything else any of you can offer? Everything that ties a soul to wanting to come back to their body could help us bring her back. A minor offering, an item, a favor, a token, anything that might bind her soul to want to come back as a means of travel.
For all I want to make fun of that damn bird, it would be a nice time to have it around. She did seem very fond of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, with Karina's death, the bird goes the way of Karina.
I don't think I still put together that it's not just an ugly ass bird. It's a familiar.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just talking about that ugly bird that used to be flying around her.
Does it give any extra, if I want to put essentially being a healer myself, kind of aid these priestesses?
Absolutely.
I want to give them my aid in this ritual.
You guys watch as Eritrea kind of pulls off his cloak and sets it on the nearby peg. He sets his weapons there and quickly kind of approaches the acolytes and begins to kind of journey with them as they do the last of the ceremony in the ritual to cast resurrection.
Did y'all? Y'all had a spa day. Surely you learned something from her.
I'm imagining that maybe Karina was given some gloves or something from Fabian, and I will lay them on her chest and say, "We had a party to go to. Please come back." She's extremely sad as she's saying this.
Yeah, mostly sad because you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss the party.
It's very sincerely felt, but it's ridiculous.
We had a party.
We had a party to go to, and now you die.
How could you do this to
me? So there, trio kind of busily. So Ford made an offering. Melody, a traumaton. Is there an offering you'd like to make by chance? And you're mute, by the way.
Yeah, I realized that as I started talking, unfortunately. I like Karina, but I don't think Trauma has anything of hers.
It could be a personal token. It could be something of her. It doesn't have to be anything that you could offer to the ritual.
You could offer to kill something for her.
Oh, I could.
Give her one for its teeth.
That's the most trauma thing out there. Is right.
Just slam one of my flails into a table and just it's like, will a death appease your gods?
Your big old flail. kind of like alongside. Everybody roll a d20 for me, if you would, please.
4 dice. There you go. 14. 4.
11.
7.
9, 11, and 7. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Talk about luck. Lots of luck on that. Karina, you've been falling for so long, you've lost track of time. You're not even sure if falling's the right word. But as you fell, this unwinding silver cord remained with you. And all of a sudden, a tug that stops you from falling. This feeling as if you look down, you could see this hellscape down below you. You could see the forms of figures writhing in pain, writhing in anger, as you're held aloft in like a kind of almost like a Mission Impossible style, but in reverse, right? Where you're looking over your shoulder down at this hellscape, and you're looking up at this very tenuous silver thread that suddenly keeps you from falling. You can hear voices. You can hear, and what caught you was this like significant pounding sound. And then you can hear a familiar voice. You can hear familiar sounds. You can hear a chant, a ceremony of sounds. And now floating around you, watching you slowly like rise back upwards, the Raven Queen's visage just circles you and circles you. And as it does, the Raven Queen suddenly moves uncomfortably close, where her face is within inches of your face. Her black, missing eyes, just these dark cavities that nothing could sit upon. Her white face, the raven-colored feathers and the raven feathers flourishing around her. I believe you got lucky this time. Your soul will always belong to me.
Then I ask before I leave, how may I carry your will in the other world?
You walk a path of potential death wherever you go. That is the opposite of life. At the tethered end of fate is always life and death. These are the things that mortals must contend with. But there are things out there that seek your soul other than myself, other than the other divinities and divines. I'll let you in on a little secret. There is a door that's been opened. There is a creature that prowls the night of this world. It is quite dangerous. It's always hungry, never satiated. And she begins to kind of pull away from you. Beware of creatures, little one. And you're like suddenly vortexed upward, and you could hear the dying sounds of a chant, the blurriness of a room that's kind of swirling around you, a face, another face, another face, and another face. You guys watch as Karina's eyes barely flutter open. Karina, you have 1 hit point, and you have 4 points of exhaustion.
Fair.
She's alive! Karina!
You watch as Eritrea and the acolytes and the priestess all step back, feeling the conclusion of the ceremony. You watch as the gloves were absorbed, all the offerings being absorbed, the diamond was absorbed, all of the way the magic works, the way the magic binds and recovers the soul to the physical form, all absorb into the spell. Slightly exhausted themselves, the priestess steps away, kind of leans a little heavily onto Eritrea, holding onto his shoulder. Thank you for your assistance. That was most grateful. Thank you.
Of course.
It's late at night. A very tired and beginning to recover, Karina. I believe 4 points of exhaustion puts you at the near kind of like I need to get some sleep kind of vibe at this point.
Warren still has 2 points of exhaustion too.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's true. You watch as the priestess kind of leans off of Eritrea and goes over to the acolytes. Fetch a stretcher. Have her taken to the recovery room. The priestess then comes over to Eritrea. You and your friends can stay in the residence wing of the temple. We can talk in the morning about what just happened. I will have to let the martial priest know that we conducted a ceremony. These things all have to be accounted for. He will be interested in your story, but for now, rest. Gather your strength, and we can talk in the morning. She then has a separate acolyte grab a lantern. This acolyte guides the four of you. Karina is taken off into a different section of the temple. The four of you are then taken off to a different section of the temple. You're guided up some stairs, not having to stay in the basement of the temple this time. You're taken up to the second floor area of the temple into a kind of empty dormitory with a bunch of rows of empty beds. The acolyte opens the door. You may sleep here for the night. Breakfast is at first light's call. We will gather you then. Sleep well. Kind of ushers you inside, closes the door behind the four of you. With that, let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break. And when we come back, we will do the second half.
Oh my goodness.
And we are back. Boy, it's a good thing there was a temple nearby.
Right.
Like, yeah, we're just going to take this dead body through the crowd. It shouldn't be a problem.
It's okay. We got this. This hurts.
I love how Drama to like climb that like 300 feet. Up.
Right.
Just like, and I like the fact that he raged to do it. I thought that was perfect.
If he got to the top, like the best thing to cap off the rage is like the top of the stairwell.
Yeah.
He gets all the way to the top, and it's like the stairs, the landing of the stairs are right there.
Right.
I can't believe this is a new campaign and I'm still dying. Okay, this is the last time. It's not going to happen again. Next time somebody else goes through this.
Yeah.
I did everything right this time. I was so careful.
I did enjoy the boldness of being like, I got 7 hit points. I'm going after this guy.
Right.
I had wings. I was fast.
False life, false life gave false bravado too, right?
No, it can happen. It can happen.
Okay, I think it's either Melody or Thorn's turn next time.
I've gone down twice already.
Yeah, I mean, you got unconscious twice already. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, I've gone unconscious twice. Not the first time I've been carried some distance by trauma.
That was actually wasn't that like your 3rd time? Because there was like our first fight and then the explosion and the,
yeah. See?
But then, so how is he okay and I'm not?
He doesn't go chasing after trouble when he's only got 7 hit points.
I
and
was
goes
stealthy.
flying tens of feet up in the air.
And I got downed by the shot. Like, I mean, I was already down.
Like, you were one-shotted, yeah.
Yeah, I got one shot.
I still think it's not fair.
It's injustice against warlocks. It is. This is warlock.
Hey, multi-class paladin, Oath of Vengeance now, okay? So you're a warlock and you're Oath of Vengeance paladin, right? Then you get a little HP and some plate armor or something.
What level are you guys at? You're level 3, right?
2.
Now.
2, yeah.
2. Yeah.
That's right.
All I know is that next time.
Yeah, tonight's a milestone. That's right.
Ooh.
Dying and not dying was a milestone.
So
Melody, I think it's your turn. I think you're next.
The 4 of you are in the dormitory. Karina is still off in a different area. It's still late at night, but is there anything you guys want to do before finally getting in your long rest?
Can Karina do something?
Karina is just shy of incapacitated after being resurrected, so she is unable to do much of anything other than you have the experience of being carried into a room with 4 beds. The acolytes kind of like carefully put you in one of the beds, kind of put a pillow underneath your head, a small thing of like a ceramic pitcher and a tankard nearby with water that they kind of pour into it. And there is these beds are not empty. There's 3 other individuals in these other beds. They look to be recovering from severe burns. There's also, like, at that moment, you're barely able to lift up your head as you look around, and you can see that there's other people here recovering from their injuries, and you just kind of focus. You watch as the acolyte sits near the door's entrance to keep an eye on everything, and you kind of just collapse into a deep sleep at this point.
Sure.
The 4 of you, anything you'd like to do before taking your long rest? I have an image of Melody doing the party girl face plant into the bed, just and then falling asleep.
I definitely think like the adrenaline of seeing Karina and Foreign really injured and then like being in action mode, she's probably just like zonked now at this point.
Yeah, the energy just suddenly just drains away. You kind of sit on the bed, kind of looking, shake your head, and you just kind of falling over and just blissfully snoring as soon as your head hits the pillow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hit the hay. I was pretty exhausted after helping with that ritual.
Foreign's gonna go up to Trauma and
Ooh, this is the hard part. You've got to thank Trauma, don't you?
yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Roll for hubris.
Right, you know. You know, you could have left me down there and you didn't. And certainly not the first time. So I don't know if this makes us friends yet. I don't think it does. But thank you nonetheless.
I'm accumulating favors, nothing more.
Noted. Just don't kill me in my sleep. You wasted all that time to get me up here. And I'm going to go back and kind of sit up against the bed again, with the hat down over the face.
Everyone go ahead and mark off a long rest as you are awoken by a gentle knock on the door. The door creaks open. One of the acolytes kind of offering you an early wake-up call. Breakfast is served in the main dormitory cafeteria. You're welcome to join us there. Headmaster... Ooh, I wonder if I should use this one. That might make more sense. Headmaster Atrium will see you after breakfast.
And when can we see our friend?
She'll be having her meal in bed. As soon as the acolytes feel that she can be up and about, she will probably find her way to the garden. We usually find that as a greater way of recovering and healing in the process. We will let you know. Or if you kind of get your... Go ahead.
I was going to ask them, y'all did see what color her skin was, right? I mean, I didn't make that up in the dim light of the night, did I? Her skin had gone gray. That did not look like Corinna.
Are you saying this just to us or to the
Yeah,
guard?
just the four of us. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, but it was her eyes, right? It looked like her.
Yeah.
So she uses a glamour or something. There are a lot of different types of people running around.
She's been saying she had some magic the whole time, but I think she was hiding more than that from us.
What are you thinking? Be straight with me.
I can't put my finger on it, but she reminds me of a changeling. But when we had a very tense conversation at the Spire by Fire before we went down to the graves last night. And while we were there, we're talking about who may be what, and I might have accused her of being somebody that I should have been tracking down, and right or wrong, I own up to that. But I swear she was so adamant that she hated changelings. She wasn't a changeling, and all this hooing and hawing, and something doesn't make sense. Something doesn't add up. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm glad we saved her, and I'll continue to help her, I think. But well, shit, I don't know what to think anymore.
I think I used her name last night, but maybe we shouldn't use it again. in case there's some reason that she's been hiding her appearance.
Well, for all we know, that's the name she's been telling us. That doesn't necessarily mean it's her name.
It's true.
I'm glad you brought this to our attention, and well, it's something we should keep our eye on. Let's focus on her recovery.
Sure.
See how she behaves. And I understand this is what you want as well for it.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. It's definitely noteworthy at this point.
The further of you gather up your things, heading out into the hallway, and eventually following the smell down to the dormitory cafeteria. There are maybe a dozen or so acolytes kind of dispersed at different stations of the table. It's one long communal table. There's 4 seats that are grouped together, the 4 of you take. As long as you partake of the breakfast, you'll get 4 temporary hit points for the day.
Always welcome temporary hit points.
Yeah.
After getting shot in the stomach, in the chest rather, with an arrow, and going down with 1 hit.
The meal is consumed. The acolyte comes in to find the 4 of you. Father Atrium would see you now. She guides you through some hallways, up some stairs, until eventually you're in front of a door that she knocks very lightly on. You hear a voice from the other side. Yes, who is it? It's Initiate Bren, sir. I have the 4 companions that you asked to see. Yes, please let them in. She clicks open the door. May the Dawn's light be with you. And kind of does like the Dawn Father sign as the 4 of you are kind of escorted into the Father's office. There you see a man cloistered in very kind of regal gold and whites with a huge Dawn Father symbol kind of put around his neck. He seems to look like someone who's either preparing to give service or maybe just got done giving the Dawn's service. He looks up from his works that he's writing in, and you notice his office is a series of very well curated bookshelves. There's a window overlooking the garden out below. You can hear people talking outside. The window's kind of pushed open. There's a breeze coming into the space. There's a series of chairs and a long couch against one wall, like a small table in front of the couch. He gets up from behind his desk and puts his hands in front of him. Please, if you would have a seat, I have questions. I assure you, this is not an interrogation. This is not, well, this is more about what happened to your friend, more so than anything. And I was wondering if you could answer questions for me about who she might be.
About who she might be?
Are you aware that your friend is a changeling?
I give Thorn a little elbow.
Suspected, but thank you for the confirmation.
Yes. I sat by her bedside for a bit of commune last night to pray for her soul, to get a feel for her energy. She is a very troubled person.
That tracks.
And he walks over and stands alongside Eritrea and notices Eritrio's vestments and kind of raises an eyebrow. You are the servant of the divine.
Yes, I am.
And who do you worship?
Sarene, of course.
You are very far from the great lights and ancient towers of Vasselheim. I was not aware that Sarenrae's reach had become this hopeful.
She believes that more light needs to be shed onto the darkness, like places like Jrusar. As you know, there are many troubles in this city.
He places his hand on your shoulder. There's much darkness here.
Yes.
There is much darkness here.
I am glad to have witnessed some sort of good here in what you've done for us today. Now you've welcomed us and helped our friend.
Yes, about that help that was given to your friend. I'm not so sure I would have advised it had I been on the nightly duty, but Priestess Illitha was allowed to make her own decisions as the requirements of those put on the watch. She felt it was important. And you watch as the father stops by a traumaton. I have to ask, your friend here is amazing. I've never seen such gear work. And you, sir, you are Warforged, are you not?
You're muted.
Yeah, every time. I assume that this guy is significantly shorter than me.
Oh yeah, he's only about 5'9", not very tall.
Yeah. Yeah, Trauma's pushing 8 feet, so it just kind of glares down at him and just kind of, what else?
Anyways, I'm always fascinated by the mechanic things of the world. It may be odd that a creature of the Dawnfather would find you fascinating, but we don't get many. Well, I dare say we haven't seen a Warforged here for a very long time. Not since that unfortunate incident. But sorry, I digress. Your friend, Karina.
Dummy.
Oh. While her heart seems well intended, her mind seems very cluttered with concern. Her mind is made up of more than just her own thoughts. There are many stories going on up in that mind. What can you tell me about her? Nice little meta. I mean, poor Karina.
We haven't known her for that long. I met her out for drinks a couple days ago, and we went to the spa yesterday, and then we went to get some clothes. And then she got attacked.
I see. Melody, give me a deception check, because you're not lying, but you're not being truthful either. You're kind of walking that fine line.
Omitting some facts.
Well,
Yes.
anyone
would say an omission. Not a lie, but an omission.
All right.
It's more to challenge the insight that he's clearly going to do on you.
It's a 5 plus 4 is a 9.
I mean, I rolled a natural 1.
But how does
He kind of seems to accept your explanation with a little bit of a quizzical look on his face, but you see, you must be a very good person to have risked so much to bring her here. The cost alone is difficult to absorb. But I understand. So none of you know her that well, then?
No.
Interesting. Well, she is currently in the gardens with a couple of the healers. They are tending to her exhaustion. Unfortunately, we cannot magically remove her exhaustion due to the efforts of the resurrection. It is a process that she will have to go through. But you can take her with you today if you choose to leave. If you would like her to remain recovering here, she can, if you choose. And you can stay as long as she is here as well. I unfortunately have many matters to attend to over in the Ember Spire. There seems to be a need. But I just wanted to get an inclination, an idea as to what had happened. If you say she was attacked, then I will accept your explanation. I'm not entirely sure that I believe your explanation, but I will be respectful of it.
I'll open up the breast of my shirt and say, like, I was a part of the same attack, if for what it's worth.
I see.
You wouldn't.
And where were you attacked if you were a part of this as well?
We had gone down to pay our respects at the pod.
You were at the vigil last night. Were you attacked during the vigil?
It got a little hairy with some things being thrown down there, and before we could get out of the way, something hit us. And I really don't know what happened to Corinna, because I got hit almost immediately. Hell, before I knew it, I was unconscious.
You watch as the father looks at you and then goes to the door and opens it. Celine, please come here. Do me a favor. Take a message to Jaman Sa'ord over at the Chandei Quorum. Let Jaman Sa'ord, there was an incident at the vigil last night, and I would like to speak with them in regards to that this evening. Please. Yes, sir. And you watch as the small acolyte disappears down the hallway. He closes the door. Well, thank you for your honesty and thank you for your information. Is there anything else that the Dawn Father and the Keeper of the Dawn can do for you?
I actually would like to ask, what has Jaman Sa'ord been doing for you?
Well, I have spent many years petitioning Marquet to get involved in this cesspool of a city. It would seem that the recent activities in the Ember Spire, along with some other notable transgressions in the Hellcatch Valley, have finally stirred them from their throne. Jaman Sa'ord is a person of great import. They have held sway over Marquet for many years, on Corel for many years, even participated in the defeat of Vecna and giving aid to those that fought against the Chroma Conclave. And even until recently, with the activities of Ludinus Deleth finally coming to a head, Jaman Sa'ord has been a very important person in both the politics of Marquet as well as its hopeful recovery for its future. I pull no punches in this. The crimes, the syndicates, the activities of Jrusar are difficult to weed your way through. It can sometimes be hard. But Jaman Sa'ord, I think, is a well-intended individual. Their legend of what they are still holds true. Often their brass dragon form comes out when needed, had you noticed a dragon and someone riding it during the fire of the Ember Spire, that would have been Jaman Saord. And there were other people that were dealing with the fire as well. I think they can be trusted.
My skill set is not necessarily particularly useful to a man like yourself, but if there was some way I could perhaps repay you, I'd be welcome to the opportunity.
You might find this hard to believe, Fawn, but I can assure you, the skills of a bounty hunter can be quite useful to the clergy of the Dawnfather, both for protective purposes and informational purposes. While we try not to get involved in the commitments of heinous crimes, we do have to protect ourselves and be aware of our surroundings. I will take you up on that offer at some point. You have a token.
That's what I was getting ready to pull out a token, and he pulls out one that's like a Celtic knot, like a nicer braided than some of the other ones he hands out.
I am also very familiar with your kind. As he looks at you and then looks over at Melody. And you have my most sincere apologies. I hope you and your kind can find your way home someday.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting all of you. Sabil, you can see them out now. Yes, sir. I was just getting the note ready for Jaman Saord. If the four of you will follow me out to the gardens, she then escorts you down the main hallway, down the stairs, and they're sitting on a stone bench with nothing more than just kind of a day robe, like a small pillow on the bench that she seems to be sitting on. Very pale, acolytes nearby, kind of attending to the garden. Other recovered victims of the fire and other things that transpire in a very busy and densely populated area like Jrusar, sitting at different spaces. Eritrea, this is also the same garden area in general, correct? That you had that kind of altar experience. While you don't see the altar right away, it's a little strange being in the daylight garden, but it's more of a thought than a complete distraction. But the four of you are kind of like guided over to where Karina is sitting. Karina, you watch as your four friends kind of come over to where you are. The acolyte, Sabine, I'll leave you to it, turns on her heels and enters back in to the temple, leaving the five of you together in the gardens.
Thank you. I owe you all a life debt, and I don't take those very lightly. I know I owe you some explanations. If you would be okay with waiting with them until we leave this space. And then you may ask me anything.
Do you look like Karina again now?
No, she would not turn into Karina because she does not want to be identified as Karina. She also has a bit of a like picture of Dorian Gray thing going on, where all of the sins end up appearing on the changeling's face instead of Karina's face. So she looks pretty ghoulish.
Oh man.
Foreign kind of approaches and, I did share about that conversation we had. I felt I should tell you this. I'm not trying to be deceitful. But had you told me from the start that you were touched by the Fae, perhaps our relationship might have gone a little differently. I will do whatever I can do to protect you from here on out.
I can only be thankful for this kindness. On the other side, I have spoken to the Raven Queen, and she had told me something that I would like to share with you guys. And I tell them what she said about the open door and the creature that is haunting in the night.
Something was certainly haunting us last night. From Trauma's description, it sounded like that gray bastard that was at looking for the gems.
I need to look sympathetic, but if I did not have to look sympathetic, bye. Vengeance will be mine, and it will be swift, and it will be 1,000 times upon him.
Well, calm down. Now you don't want to get too excited. You know,
that because she needs to be sympathetic.
the palpitations right now might harm your being. You're very fragile at the moment. So, but trust me, Corinna, we are of a mind on this matter, and we certainly will get our revenge on that gray bastard.
Thank you. All I can say is that what had led me here so far has been a life debt that I have owed, and now I also owe you guys a life debt. And that is something that I will find a way to repay. I swear that.
He like Thorn's like counting on his face. How many lives do you have, child?
As of now, 2. How are you guys?
He like shows the arrow wound.
How are you not dead? Why am I the only one who died? That doesn't seem fair, actually.
You know, my blood's a little strange, and sometimes it does weird things, and it worked out. I think Trauma here is the one we really need to thank.
She will hug Trauma, because Trauma really came through on this.
Oh.
It's basically like hugging an 8-foot tall oak tree. Like you just gotta, that's like metal. You gotta wrap your weak arms kind of around Trauma's form.
So was anybody able to see who had been harvesting the mushrooms? I'm sorry that me fucking ended up really derailing our plans.
Yeah, unfortunately, that never transpired. Yeah,
we didn't get that far. We were, I thought perhaps that shady fella traipsing around the outside might have been the one we were looking for, but he made quick work of us.
Why was he there?
That's the question of the day. I do believe tomorrow is that fancy auction we're supposed to be attending. Well, y'all are supposed to be attending. It's today.
It's tonight. Yeah, it's tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Karina, I am so sorry. When we were trying to resurrect you, I sort of like sacrificed your gloves, and I didn't realize they'd be absorbed in the spell. So,
you can borrow these things were nothing in comparison to not being dead.
But they
I know, they were really nice gloves.
I mean, I assume y'all can just go find Fabian again, right? But
we do have to go back because he had to get everything tailored today.
Well, I'm feeling a lot stronger, so if you guys want to go, I think I can keep up. And I transform myself into Legolas.
Yes.
So I'm a beautiful elf man with blowing hair and a face that has not at all been trademarked.
It's not at all been trademarked. Nice D6 inspiration on that one, Karina. Well done. Well done.
I'll leave it for the next time I die.
As we're like sort of getting ready to go, I will mention that we stopped by Ember Brew's place yesterday, and it really seemed like he did not expect us to be there, and maybe was not happy to see us. Like he thought we would have been elsewhere, or that something would have happened to us.
Do you
He
think
kept asking if we were involved in the incident.
Yeah,
Huh.
we were gonna wait for you guys there, but it started feeling like something was wrong, and we pretty much left right away.
I had spoken to him earlier in the day about perhaps relocating his place of business, assuming perhaps him possibly being tied to everything going on and with what we knew what happened in the Lantern Spire, that perhaps he might want to relocate. But
Did he have
I think he was okay where he would be.
Did he have a bruise on his face when you talked to him?
No, actually, he was taken off in the middle of the day. I just spoken to him over outside the Stargazer.
Do you know if he knew that we were supposed to be at the funeral?
Did you say anything for him?
No, no, nothing about that. I didn't bring any of that. I was trying to get him to move. I was trying to perhaps relocate him and give us a better place to stay instead of such a conspicuous location as on the bridge at the base of the core spire.
And he was a little coy as well when we were asking about you guys. He didn't seem like he had seen you at first. And he eventually gave in to that.
Yeah, we were there.
I trust you. It's just interesting how I've known the man for some time now. And
If that
his attitude has
Genasi,
changed.
if that Genasi was sent to assassinate us, he could have followed us from Ember Brews. And he certainly has some relation to his group. I mean, it's kind of unclear how involved he is in all those incidental criminal organizations that just happen to meet in his space.
The spider at the center of a very big web attracts lots of flies. Shall we go there and take a visit first? I mean, if what we're suspecting is true, then we ought to be able to read his reaction if we come walking in the door. Particularly if we send Trauma in first, frankly. I mean...
You guys can do it. I would be elsewhere at that time since I don't want to be... I'm too weak to get into a fight and I don't want to be seen at this point in that area.
Where do you think he'll go?
I'll keep this outfit for now. And I'll just find a place where I can regain some of my strength.
Lauren, do you have a way that she can stay in contact with us?
I can stay in contact with her, but
Yes.
it's a one-way
Okay.
call. And him pull out another locket.
Thank you.
Karina, do you think you're gonna at some point go back to House Loomis?
As of now, I mean, sorry.
I don't know how many times we can crash at the Temple of Dawnfather, and I'm wondering if we should try and find a little bit more permanent solution.
That's good thinking. The residents of House Loomis is still compromised, and we would draw attention to ourselves at this point because we were there the night this happened and there were survivors who saw us.
Who did you hand off the charm to? Because I could still make contact with him.
Tell us, but I would like to wait on that just a little bit, just until I understand some things that are happening. I fear that that might be our last chance to see her, and I would like to make sure that I have as much information as possible before pursuing her. But we should do that soon, if that's okay.
Sure. Well, perhaps we go scout out the grounds of the auction tonight, because I'm not planning to attend in person like you all are, but I will need a place to inconspicuously keep a watch of you all.
Yeah. Sorry. I fear we would have to regroup some plans in light of recent events. I could certainly benefit from taking some time to reassess some things. And again, I do owe you guys some amount of explanation. Just if you could be so patient as to wait until we are in a more discreet location.
Well, perhaps we can go scout out a location that may be available for our residents.
That sounds like a good plan. And again, if you guys want to go to Ember Brew and scare the bejesus out of him, I can get on that and just like figure out the logistics.
I'm more curious as to how he'll react if Trauma walks in the door there.
If he does, piss himself, please, take a photo or something.
Take an illusionary selfie.
Please.
You got any balloons of that you want me to throw at him? Or?
Wait, let me go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
It's the old tiger piss balloons. Come on.
Record. I have 1000% record on vengeance, and I do not plan on stopping now. So that Genasi better be ready. Okay.
Well, if that's that, then perhaps we should be on our way. We need to scout residents, or perhaps scout some kind of a residence. Take a look at Ember Brew. I really, Trauma, are you comfortable to go and check in on Ember Brew? I will accompany you, but it's more or less. I mean, how did you make it out of there without getting hit?
Trauma again just kind of looks at him, just like, I'm made of steel. Like, what do you want? Just like, is that a serious question?
I will say that Ember Brew did tell me he had a shift available for me today, and I could tell him I was just showing up for work.
Sure.
See how he reacts to that. I'll play innocent.
Well, and so far as we know, you and Melody, I mean, he already knows you all were absent the rest of us.
Yep. I could just tell him I've started to date this fine young woman. She's here to keep an eye on me.
Or you could bring Trauma since he is the bouncer anyhow.
He
And then
says,
we've got somebody he hasn't met yet.
that'll leave us time to find some place of residence for us. I mean, perhaps shall we look at the Smolder Spire? I mean, given recent events, my question being that seems the least likely location of.
Like,
it seems to have the best real estate.
Lantern Spire or better for the residents.
I am not made of money. I don't know about you all, but I am not made of money. So if we're looking at Lantern Spire elsewhere, it's going to be significantly difficult, I believe. But
I think I can cook up the bill on that.
I still got this diamond if we can hawk it somewhere. we'll have some significant cash.
I
Fair.
still have my wallet, right? Like I still have the cash I've had up until now.
Unless Foreigner or Traumaton took it.
No, I
Nope.
didn't.
I wouldn't hear about that.
I'd never do that.
I was unconscious, so I couldn't have taken it for the most part, right? By the time I was conscious, other people were there. So
Corinna tries to think of like any location that she knows from her past where they might be able to like discreetly rent an apartment.
Give me a survival check, if you would, please.
That is survival in the city, I guess. Wow, that's a 5.
well,
Can I
perhaps-
give the help action?
Sure.
What I was gonna suggest as foreign, perhaps some place with a business exterior and a
That's a 20.
quarter interior, because I could set up a place to start applying for bounties.
Yeah. Well, I just got a 20 thanks to Melody's help.
I mean, as part of the conversation, it dawns on both Melody and Karina, maybe the best person to ask is Fabian, because his shop is the ground floor of his tenement. So he lives above his shop. And after being in the Lantern Spire, you remember seeing some of the more moderate shops kind of being designed and built that way. It's possible that the Prakash Pyre level that Fabian's Silver Time shop is on is a good starting point to maybe see if there's a place on the Prakash Pyre that would offer some interest.
Nice. Okay, so I'll get started on that. If you guys want to go ruffle up Ember Brew or anything like that. Or if you want to come with me to see Fabian and get some tea, I guess that's good.
You would also be aware that there are domiciles and tenements and empty businesses on the Fate Walk Bridge area of the Lantern Spire, located in the Market area, as well as near the place known as the Weary Way Tavern.
Well, actually, that might be a little better as far as not having somebody who recognizes us know our in and outs. So maybe we'll start there.
So who's going where? Eritrea and a Traumaton going to the Fire by Spire to confront or have an interaction with Ember Brew. The three of you heading to the bridge area to look at that area to see if there's anything interesting there.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. With that, you say goodbye to Don Marshall Temple. Eritrea, give me a perception check, please, as the others gather themselves to prepare to leave, and you kind of linger in the garden for a bit.
It's a 19.
What are you doing?
Nice. As the others gather their stuff and begin to leave down the garden steps towards the entry path that'll take them off the garden area, you find yourself lingering and looking in the direction of the altar that you had discovered the previous night. There's a strange kind of pull, tug, a sense of foreboding. You look in the direction of where the altar is kind of hidden behind all of the growth of the garden. And your thoughts to what Karina said about a doorway being opened, a creature stalking the lands, just kind of triggers this moment of your discovery. Without even realizing, you've kind of walked in the direction of the altar, a separate garden path. It takes you back to where you were the previous night. Only in the light of day, it looks very different. The statue and the untended garden around it. The writing at the base of the statue. There's a strange kind of emptiness as you stare at it. You shake off the feeling and quickly return up the garden path back to where everyone is gathered. The four of you noticed that Eritrea had lingered and took a while to come out of the garden area.
Everything all right?
I have a very bad feeling, based on what Karina has told us.
About what?
I can't say for certain, but, and I don't know any details, but the doorway, the creature, some of the energy is coming from here.
From the garden?
Yes.
Can I try to connect to like my warlocky Raven Queen feel and see if I sense anything?
Yeah, you sense a very upset raven. In the ether, in the darkness of the void.
I was wondering when you were gonna reach out to me. You okay? Are you alright?
I'm fine, thank you. We will reconvene soon. Evil.
I was having the strangest dream. I thought I was pecking out your eyeballs.
Not yet. Soon.
Yeah, delicious. So delicious. Anyway, yeah, I'll be here in the shadow of the void, waiting for your back. Good to have you back, mistress. Good to have you back.
Do I feel anything like Eritrea described?
Not really. Just kind of sense of a very beautiful garden that's been only partially tended to. Acolytes moving in about the garden, collecting herbs and leaves and things from the garden. Open doorways. People are beginning to show up for midday service. Just feels like another normal day in the idea of this place.
That. That Dawnfather guy was a bit zealous in his beliefs, don't you think? I'm not. I'm not saying Jrusar is some utopia of wonder and amazement. We've all got the scars to that, but I don't know. I certainly didn't expect him to perhaps require the assistance of a bounty hunter. That's for sure.
That's why I asked. It's strange for someone of the cloth to be reaching those types of people.
What do you mean, those types of people?
I apologize.
Traumatized like, don't apologize. You're absolutely right. He is.
I'll be right back. I forgot our screen door is open.
When was the last time you were at Temple Thorn?
Yesterday, remember? Before that, I don't know, but I can't remember. But the last time before this time was yesterday.
Walking and talking on your way towards the Lantern Spire, or actually you're on the Lantern Spire, you approach the gondola that will take you down towards Fate Walk Bridge. There's also another gondola that will take Eritrea and a Traumaton back up to the core spire to then approach the spire by fire, as you guys each go your separate ways. The Ember Spire is far more calmed down now. No remnant of smoke, no remnant of immediate fire is kind of can be seen. The gondola that would take you to that section of the Ember Spire is still cordoned off. You can't help but notice 4 interesting looking individuals getting onto the gondola. A kind of strange rat looking person, someone that looked clearly like the Chandei Quorum, and you recognize Fabian as well, and a rather kind of very colorful looking individual. And they're flanked by wardens that kind of assist them onto the gondola, and you watch as the gondola drifts down towards the Ember Spire. With that, a Traumaton air trio get on the gondola heading up towards the core spire, while Karina, Forn, and Melody begin to take the gantry-way, the stairwell, the kind of tethered bridges that will take you down towards the Fated Walk, the busy market area, and the hopeful finding of maybe a place to reside. Air trio and a Traumaton, as you take the gondola over to the core spire, takes about 5 minutes to make the journey up there. You feel the gondola kind of level into the platform, paying your 2 silver, disembarking onto the platform. And before long, you're in the busy streets that will take you towards the Spire by Fire. As you approach, 2 of you slow your walk. The entire front of the Spire by Fire has collapsed in on itself. There are at least 24 wardens that have cordoned off the entire area and are guiding the foot traffic to go around the damage that's spilled out into the street. There are numerous bodies covered in blankets and linens that strewn the street. Air Trio and Traumaton, give me perception checks as you examine this disaster that has occurred.
No.
Hey, I tried to tell him to leave, but
Okay.
13.
Kurt, I think you cursed me on our last one shot because I was rolling amazing. I don't think I've rolled above like a 12 today. That's a 3.
I rolled
3.
so bad today.
What'd you get, Air Trio?
13.
13. There's one particular blanket that you notice, Air Trio, where a beard and a familiar looking hand are poking out from underneath the blanket. You get the feeling that that might be the remains of Ember Brew. There's also another blanket with a hand and a partially exposed face of a familiar looking orc, the companion of Ember Brew as well. The place looks surprisingly destroyed in a very specific way, as if something from the interior blew outward. But you see no immediate signs of charring or soot, no immediate signs of a fire. The upper stories of the Fire by Spire, the windows blown and shattered outward, bits of shutters that would normally secure the windows kind of teetering off hinges to show that the shockwave of whatever happened found its way upward into the second story as well. What would the 2 of you like to do?
I would like to feign some sort of panic and approach the wardens and tell them that I had a shift today.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear boy. There seemed to have been an explosion early this morning. This has only just happened maybe an hour or so ago. There's not much left of the interior of the tavern. You know the owner of this establishment?
I do. I've worked with him for quite some time now.
Oh, so you know who Ember Brew is then?
Yes. I've been washing dishes. I've been
I regret to
tending
inform
bar.
you, unfortunately, Ember Brew has passed.
Oh,
The Wild Mother Enclave is on their way to collect the bodies to be taken back to their garden temple. So sorry, sir. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you onto the premise. Is there any information you can share with us in regards to why or how something like this might have happened?
He was always such a lovely man to me. Can I collect my belongings I left in there? They're in my locker.
Hold
Please.
on. Give me a persuasion check with advantage, because you're playing up the suffering employee pretty good so far.
All right. 15.
15. One moment. Let me ask my sergeant. You watch as the guard goes over, exchanges a few words with the sergeant. He then comes back. Briefly, a few minutes. Be mindful of where you walk. And he guides you into the kind of like destroyed interior of the place. I'll wait here. Go gather your things and meet me back here when you have what you need. Where are you heading off to, our trio? I mean, there's the kitchen area. There's access to the basement below the kitchen area, that secret access point where that original gathering took place. And there's a set of stairs that lead up to the second and third floor of the Spire by Fire.
When I'm inside, can I tell if there's any focal point of where the blast seemed to come from?
Give me an investigation check, if you would, please.
It's not my strong suit, but 12.
12. Looking around, the floor is surprisingly undamaged. It appears that the focal point of the explosion originated behind the bar. And there's areas near the bar that are actually surprisingly intact. You walk over as if to mimic the searching for where your stuff might be. There is a metal drum, like a metal barrel that's been peeled open as if it exploded outward. And it's in multiple pieces on the ground behind the bar. And there's this strange kind of residual, kind of black, dried substance around the barrel.
Okay.
No markings on the barrel that you can see. Surprisingly blank of any markings. Traumatime, what are you doing with your time? You watch as Eritrea bribes his way into the interior of the tavern, leaving you outside amongst the crowded people that are either gawking at the damage or being kind of hustled around the cordon that the Wardens have kind of, created.
I'm going to kind of try to muscle my way in, just kind of find whatever looks like the least impressive, the most easily intimidated guardsman is, and just kind of settle up to him, just be like, I was a security unit for this establishment. I wish to go in and investigate.
Give me an intimidation check. As he's like looking up at your full height, kind of shaking a bit.
Oh, that's a nat 20.
Oh, yeah.
Here, slumps against the wall and slides to the ground, kind of giving you a little open passageway into the backside of the tavern. As you move forward, you find yourself on the opposite side of the tavern from the backside of it. The door that would normally be an entrance and exit out to the back alleyway is open, and it looks to have been forced open from what you can tell. What else would you like to do at Traumaton?
Are any of the bodies still in there, or have they all been carted away?
It looked like they had all been collected in front of the establishment and covered as if part of some kind of investigation.
Okay. You mentioned the floor was completely intact. Does anything catch my eye as, like, residue of some kind of explosive or a particular magical effect?
Give me investigation as you begin to enter the back door to look inside the tavern.
That was a 4.
Yeah. You're currently kind of looking both at the stairwell in, and this door leads into the back kitchen. And you begin to examine the kitchen, for the most part looking incredibly intact. However, the fake or false wine cask, that large wall wine cask that Emberbrew used as an entry point to go down into the basement, is open. Eritrea, you can hear somebody in the kitchen.
I would like to try to stealthily check that out.
Yeah, give me a stealth check as you kind of watch the guards distracted by looking at the debris and some of the other mess about him. 12? I mean, you kind of silently move your best through the rubble to the kitchen door. You push it open, and there's a Traumaton in the kitchen.
Oh.
And he sees you, and you see him, and the two of you are going to now in the kitchen area where the false cask wall is open that would normally lead down into the basement.
I think we should check this out.
Charlie kind of nods in agreement and moves to start heading down the stairs.
Two of you head down below into the basement. The three of you are in the market area. You are passing by the Weary Way Tavern. There's lots of little tandem shops where the shops are on the bottom floor where they live, secondary or third floor. It kind of has that Boston brownstone feeling, only instead of brick, it's all carved out of the rock of the spire to kind of make it and facilitate it to make it a little bit more easier for shops to be curated here or built here. Wood is clearly not used here, and with the after effects of the Ember Spire, it's quite easy to see why. Wood burns. This is not there's always a breeze. There's always a slight wind whenever you're on these spires. And they've kind of used the natural environment of the spires as a way to carve out domiciles and shops and other places of interest. The three of you give me a investigation check as you start looking around the area of the Fate Walk Bridge and some of the what look to be empty buildings nearby. Not a lot, but there's a few.
15.
Okay.
Had a
3.
better modifier than I thought.
3. Melody, always shopping, never looking. What'd you
10.
get, Karina? 10? Foreign, from your vantage point, this place, this area of the market and this area of this space feels profitable, feels busy. You watch as a good amount of people come and go from the Weary Way Tavern, and then sandwiched in between a curio shop and an artist ceramic shop, like a pottery shop, is a 3-story structure, but it's very narrow. It has a sign, a wooden sign, covering the front of the door. You could see signs on the inside of the windows. It looks pretty run down, dilapidated. Looks like it hasn't been occupied for a long time. But there, on the sign on the door, it says "Inquire next door," and it's a painted black arrow pointing towards the pottery shop called the King's Shards.
I'm gonna kind of nudge Melody, who's I'm assuming she's nudge her, Hey, I think this might be the place.
Rude.
I think this might be the place, but
He was busy shopping. How dare you?
Again, I'm not the charismatic type, so perhaps I may not be the one to need to make this conversation, but I'm more than happy to accompany us in there.
All right. I mean, it's not super cute, but I think there's potential there. Let's go check it out.
let's talk about dolling it up later. We gotta make possession of it first.
As you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. As the three of you kind of find yourself walking over to the King's Shard, you go inside, and the pottery here is beautiful. Like different colorations, different styles of vessels and urns and plates and cups and all manner of things that might be useful for anyone that needed to grow a garden or service a kitchen or maybe decorate a tavern. There seems to be this business here. Behind a nearby like counter, you see a bullywog. He's currently working on a journal entry, cleaning up some pottery that he's putting up, and he kind of looks up from his work. Hello. Hi. Welcome to my shop. Is there anything I can do for you?
This pottery is so gorgeous. Do you make this yourself, or do you order it from someone?
I do. I do make this myself. It is a family tradition of sorts.
This one I'll like pick up if there's like a little pink pot. I'll pick up and be like, "How long did this take to make?" The like ombre is so gorgeous.
Oh, well, thank you. He kind of comes waddling out behind the counter. You can see his leather apron, his leather breeches, and he's got his neat little bow tie, and his hands are holding a ceramic urn as he comes out from around the counter and kind of approaches. Yes, this is one that I spent a great deal of time on. This is actually a vessel of ceremonial acceptance. This is used for the purposes of, if you're into the world of divinity and look to make an offering to a temple, often my patrons will come and purchase these kind of vessels.
Oh, it's beautiful. How much is it? I'd love to buy it.
Oh, it would priced for 3 gold, of course.
I'll take it. I'll hand over the 3 gold right now, and then I'll be like, oh, and also, the place next door. We saw there was an arrow saying we could take a look at it.
Oh, yes. It is a building that belongs to me. I've been meaning to do something with it, and to be honest with you, we're not really sure what to do with it. It's unfortunately a little bit cluttered with storage and things that I store there as part of my shop. I would have to be honest with you. I'm looking more to sell it than to let it out for purposes of rent. Is this a place you'd be interested in buying, perhaps?
I think we might be, but could we take a look around?
Of course. Give me 1 second. Hi, I'm taking some guests next door. You hear a female bullywog. Okay, I'll watch the front. And he watches a female bullywog comes out from the back of the shop and kind of through some curtains. And she's wearing kind of similar attire, but it's more like yellows and blues. And you can see that there's like clay all over her. Like she's smattered with clay, and she smells like a kiln would smell. She's obviously involved in making the pottery as well. She takes over, and by the way, my name is Grung. Good to meet you.
My name's Melody.
Oh, yes. She shakes her hand. Unsure really what to do. You would make interesting neighbors for sure. You watch as he pulls out a large iron key, unlocks the door, opens it, and guides the 3 of you into the interior of the first floor. To his credit, it is filled with boxes with all sorts of like pottery emblems, like clay and dyes and pigments and like everything he would need. Of course, I can move all this out if you're interested in buying the place. I have storage, but frankly, when you have empty space, you just fill it because it's there. Please, follow me. As you tour the first floor, everyone give me perception checks, if you would, please.
That's a 24.
Okay.
I got a 13.
An 8.
An 8. Boy, those campaign 1 vibes are starting to leak into your reality, Karina. As the three of you examine the first floor, it clearly was a shop of some kind. There's empty bookcases, empty shelves. The back of the down floor domicile seems to have the remnants of a workshop, as well as kind of like a storage facility with a door that leads out into the back alleyway of the downstairs. The front of the shop feels like a place that was used to display whatever wares were in here. He then guides you over to a stairwell. He guides you through a door that enters this very tight circular stairwell that takes you up to the next floor. Going up to the next floor, this part of the building seems to be a very large common room. But at the back of the common room looks like maybe a sitting room or a parlor or something that was used as a place to read or study. There's a couple old chairs, some more empty boxes. The common room has some kind of ratty old furniture in it, with some kind of threadbare rugs on the ground. He then guides you all the way up to the third and final floor, and this actually seems to be his favorite part of the structure. Me and my wife were thinking of started a family when we first came here. That's why I bought this particular building. It has 5 small bedrooms on the 5th floor or the 3rd floor. The beauty of it is this is my favorite part. And he guides you through up out of the stairwell and into a thin hallway. The hallway seems to connect all 5 bedrooms. There's one at the very back, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, and they're normal sized rooms. They're roomy but not huge. But then he guides you to the front of the 3rd floor, which is this open veranda that there's no windows, just a solid wall of doors that he walks over to, and he kind of accordions them open, and then the full sound of the street and the city just kind of gets a little bit louder and kind of envelops the space. You can hear the crowds, the markets, the hawkers of their wares kind of up and down the street. And the veranda is a sizable patio that is sandwiched in between 2 other verandas, one to the right, which is his shop, and then of course the one to the left, which is the curio shop. But it's got some old wooden chairs set up big enough for a sizable group of people to kind of sit out here and admire the street, which gives you the full landscape of the Fates Walk Bridge. It also gives you a full visionary of the Ivory Spire traffic, as once again you see airships traversing from the horizon coming towards the Ivory Spire. You watch as the occasional skiff kind of floats by, going in whatever direction they're going. You look down to the street market as people are ebbing and flowing in the streets. Well, as you can see, this is by far my favorite part. Sorry for the smallness of the overall structure. I originally paid 800 gold for the building. I have received offers of 1,500 gold. I would like to at least get 1,200 gold for my troubles. Of course, market access, street fees, and taxes and excisement. You will have to pay the tax collectors like the rest of us do. Be mindful. I am not looking to bring in people of the more nefarious crowd. I don't mean to be a burden upon this, but I prefer my new neighbors not to be robbers, if you get my meaning.
Are you at all open to renting?
Unfortunately, I am looking to sell. I do not wish to pay the tax any longer, and I'd like to unburden myself of this place.
Have you received a lot of offers? Why'd you turn down that offer for 1,500?
I had my suspicions about the offer. He looks around. His huge bullywug eyes blink independently, and he kind of gets a little nervous. I think they were Ivory Syndicate people that were trying to buy it from me. I do not like what they represent, and I'd prefer them not to be my neighbor. And they were quite rude about my refusal, but me and my wife, we stood firm and did not accept their proposal. Yes.
Yeah, you can never be too careful. We keep a guardian robot who makes us feel much more safe. I'm sure you'd feel much more safe with that robot around as well.
And can I give Melody kind of a side help assistance by casting Distort Value?
Okay. Yeah. Give me a persuasion check with advantage. It'll lower the DC as well.
Okay.
First one is 24,
Okay.
and second one is 7. So
24 is real good.
Yeah. As you guys are having this conversation about renting and kind of fawning over Grung's place, he kind of blushes a little bit and, well, I suppose I could let it go for 1,000 gold if you would be able to afford that.
I have 500 gold at the moment, but I did ask my parents for more when we were at this club. So if they've gotten back to us,
perhaps we might pay in installments. You can see, and I pull out my pistol. You can see, I tend to work with the finer metals, but not that you should be worried. I don't mean this as a threat.
No. To be armed in this city makes sense. I myself am quite handy with a saber.
Your pots are very beautiful, I will say, but I tend to craft this type of equipment, and these things don't go very cheaply. So, if we could perhaps come to some sort of terms and pay you in a couple of installments, I would greatly appreciate it.
I like the idea of, is your metal friend clockwork or of a sentient nature?
Oh, he's very sentient.
Oh, Warforged. I tell you what I can do. I can accept the 500 gold as deposit. You can call this place yours. At the end of the month, in 30 days' time, simply pay the remaining 500 gold, and then I will hand over the writ and deed to you. I will have it registered with the Chandei Quorum so that the tax can be collected and that you'll be the domicile caretakers of this establishment.
I do believe we have a deal, friend. He's going to spit in his hand because that's his habit.
Shakes your hand, takes the offered gold, and you guys kind of descend into casual conversation. He continues the tour. He continues showing you different things about the building, the structure, access to the alleyway, the sounds of the market always kind of filtering into the space. With the Traumaton and Air Trio entering the basement, the three of you securing a possible both domicile and location to base yourselves. I think that's a good place for us to stop tonight.
Yay, we got a house.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm so glad this group has Tally back because I love the dynamic of all 5 of you. I love it. I hate to tell you this, Karina, but I swear to God, you get yourself into trouble. You just
I don't know how that happened. I was just gonna follow him a little bit.
He was not interested in being followed.
Waffles wants to say hi.
Oh, I know, puppy!
Oh,
what's his name? Waffles?
Waffles, yeah.
Oh my God! Is that because he likes waffles?
That's what she was named at the rescue where we picked her up.
That's hysterical. That's
Yeah.
absolutely hysterical.
I was there to pick up French fry and I got waffles instead.
Waffles taste better.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Don't forget, be kind, be safe, and don't forget to play a game. You guys go ahead and linger. We'll talk about upcoming schedules. Everyone else, we will see you next Sunday. Good night, everybody.